How's it going, guys? CheesyCats here, and today I'm going to be going over everything you need to know about pre-registration for Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent, as well as the necessary steps and information needed to download and install the game. The game drops in just a few days, and I'm sure you're all really excited to get started, so let's hop right into the video. First things first, let's quickly touch on what areas the app is available in. Right now, the game is available for pre-registration in the Google Play Store and App Store for players in America and Europe. Now, I have the privilege of being an American player, so I don't have to jump through any hoops to download and install the game, but many of you guys will look up COTC in your App Store and find that the game is not available in your region. Depending on your device, there are different methods of circumventing this. For Android users, you'll want to look for an app called QApp. This app is commonly used to download APK files for mobile games, especially ones that aren't available to your native region. Just look up Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent in the app, and you should be able to download and install the APK when it becomes available. You would also continue using QApp to get updates when those become available. For iPhone or iPad users, it's a little bit harder from what I understand. I'm an Android user myself, so I don't have any first-hand experience, but I collected some of this info from my friends, so forgive me and them if there are any mistakes. You have two options if you're on an Apple device. You can either swap regions for your main Apple ID, or you can create an entirely new Apple ID in the target region. Creating a new Apple ID seems like the better choice from what I've been told. It supposedly requires an address and phone number from the target region, but those apparently can be entirely made up, and the only real information you need to provide seems to be an email address, which is easy enough. On the flip side, swapping regions is the alternative option, but seems much more annoying. You'd have to swap back and forth between regions every time you need to install a new update, assuming you want to go back to your home region in between updates. Also, currency doesn't carry over between regions, and friends of mine have even told me that they were not able to region swap at all because they still had money sitting in their account. Overall, it just seems like a big hassle, and I would say creating a new Apple ID of the target region is the go-to option. Once you have an Apple ID within the correct region, the application should appear as normal in the App Store, and you can pre-register or download the app as normal once it's available. One thing that you may run into when opening the game up for the first time is an error message that says the game is only available for specific regions. This is an error message that we received in the Japanese version of COTC as well, if we were trying to connect to the game from outside Japan. Rest assured, this error is very easily fixable. All you have to do is, for your first time entering the game, you have to enter with a VPN. There's tons of free VPNs out there, and I guarantee you they all have some servers in NA, so just pick one up, connect to the game, and once you're past the title screen, you can turn the VPN off and you'll never need to see it ever again. Do note though that if you intend on re-rolling, you will have to go back to that initial title screen again, so re-rollers, you will probably want to keep the VPN on until you're satisfied with what you get out of your re-rolls. Now let's talk about pre-registration. From what I understand, pre-reg only really affects two things. You'll get a notification letting you know when the app is ready for download, and it counts towards some rewards that the player base will be getting once the game is launched. Rest assured, even if you aren't pre-registered, everyone will be getting the same rewards, as long as they create an account within the first several weeks. At 100k pre-registrations, all players will get 5,000 leaves, which is the currency in this game. At 300k, everyone will get 16 medium experience nuts, which will help you get off the ground running a bit. At 500k, everyone will get 20 gold guide stones, which isn't a lot. It's basically enough to increase a 5-star unit's level cap by 1, but we never say no to free stuff. The 700k milestone is the Pursuer's Gloves, an accessory that can be equipped to a character. While equipped, the holder has a 5% chance of dealing a bonus hit whenever they use the attack command, similar to the second serving passive from the original Octopath Traveler. And lastly, there is a secret milestone, which has been recently revealed to be 300 rubies. Hopefully we'll be able to get those bonus rubies by the time the game is out to make re-rolling a lot easier, so if you haven't already, be sure to pre-register today. For one final note in this video, I want to briefly go over what the reroll expectations should be going into the full release. To give a frame of reference, I went all the way back to the beginning of the JP server to see what re-rolling was like there, so let's take a quick look. Keep in mind, this does not necessarily reflect what re-rolling will be like on the English server, so please take this information with a grain of salt. At the very beginning, re-rolling was limited to only 4 rolls: the starting roll, where you get woken up in the snowstorm, and 3 single roll tickets. In the EN closed beta, the snowstorm roll was a guaranteed 5-star character, but in JP, it was not guaranteed 5-star, instead being a 4-star minimum with the chance of getting a 5-star. This means that we had 4 rolls total. Assuming that you are going to start the game from day 1 and begin re-rolling immediately, This is how much I would assume you're going to have to work with. This is of course assuming you just want to grab stuff out of the mailbox and immediately head to the gacha screen. There are also some rubies that you should be able to get fairly quickly from the novice missions. Novice missions are a category full of missions that can only be completed once each, and are completed by doing various things in the game for the very first time, such as successfully getting an item from an NPC by performing path actions. However, comparing the novice missions that were in the EN closed beta to those that are currently in the Japanese game, some of the rewards are different, so I don't have an accurate number of how many rubies you can accumulate from these missions. Just know that when you are doing rerolls, you should be able to score an extra roll or two just by doing a quick few steps. As the game hit player-based milestones, we received additional rubies. The milestones for hitting 1 million and 2 million players were hit fairly quickly within the first day or so, giving us an additional 88 rubies apiece for a total of 176, enough for 5 single rolls. Now remember, in Octopath there is not necessarily anything guaranteed if you do a 10 roll as opposed to doing 10 individual single rolls, so we're down to take any rubies that we can get at that point. The following day, we hit the 3 million player milestone for another 88 rubies, bringing the total up to 264. At this point, you have 12 rolls to work with on a reroll, 240 rubies worth of single pulls, the snowstorm pull, and 3 single pull tokens. On top of these 12 rolls, we potentially have the 300 rubies from the secret milestone as well. Assuming we get these rubies, re-rolling from the very beginning will probably have a minimum 14 rolls, and waiting a few days could potentially yield another several rolls. However, there's no guarantee that the English version of the game will get the same player-based milestones that we got in JP, so whether or not you want to reroll immediately or wait a couple days and see what extra reroll ammunition we can get is ultimately up to you. In terms of how many 5 stars you should aim for before you start saving up for future banners, in my Gacha Banners guide video, I said that I think you should go for around 2 or 3 5-star units, while also trying to fill out each class and having at least 1 healer. Hopefully the amount of bonus rolls they end up giving us when the game launches will make the reroll process a bit easier. As far as the reset procedure goes after each reroll, it's going to depend on what kind of device you have, Android or Apple. For Android devices, you're going to want to go into the app settings, find Octopath COTC, and hit clear data. Then you're all set to jump back into the app and do it all over again. For Apple devices, you will have to uninstall and reinstall the app completely to go another round. In both cases, you will need to have your VPN turned on in order to bypass the title screen if you aren't in a native region. That's all I have for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed and learned everything you need to know, but if you have any additional questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Up next, I'm going to have a guide to all of the starting 5 stars, as well as my personal reroll tier list, so look out for that in the upcoming future. This has been Shizakats, and until next time, see ya!